All right. Looks like we're live. How's everyone doing? Let me just go with that fun. Let's jump in our group here. We're going to have a fun day today. We're going to be talking about mapping this out. Everyone. All right. So we're going to have some fun today. We're going to map out the kind of the plan to get to 7 figures. I also want to show you some of the work I've been doing offline as far as research goes, and just kind of getting in the head of these people, right? So that I can understand exactly what's going on. And so that we can actually go ahead and build like a really, really damn good product. That's like our ultimate goal. So I'm just going to move a few things around here on my Mac here to get some good sound. And I see we got some people tuning in. So if you're here live, feel free to drop a hashtag live below so I can just see you in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, just so I can see you and respond back. But today is going to be a really fun one. So I am going to do my fancy schmancy thing here. And we're going to first pull up kind of what we started working on last week, which was really diving into market research. And again, I spend a lot of time on this, and like for context, I've built this would be our 3rd micro offer for this client, and Dan is like my ride or die client. He's always be working together. I love it. It's just, we have a blast. We're partners more than clients, which is amazing. But I think that the thing is, like, even though I understand this market and I feel, hey, I know this market fairly well, I still want to really dive into research just so that I really, really understand it. I've even been doing this for Sell While You Sleep again, too, because I wanted to update the product. I want to make some changes and really put some fresh blood into it. And so I'm still going through this exact same process. And it doesn't matter if I think I know a market really well, getting this information down on screen is so damn important. So let me dive in, and I'm just going to kind of show you one of the few things I start doing. So I'm going to share my screen here. Can everyone just confirm? I'm going to check comments. If you're watching live, can you just confirm you can see my screen and that it's not super patchy? Sweet. Excellent. Okay, good. So what I started doing is we got about 18, 16 pages of notes and stuff. And so again, what I'm doing here, just to reiterate, is the core thing I really want to do to get this micro offer going is I want to make sure that we have the right product dialed in. And so that all starts with this kind of a little bit more, in a way, boring step. I like it. It's fun. I get to sit back, drink coffee, listen to music, whatever, and just go through all of these different. I collected a bunch more Facebook ads, and there's so much more I could go through here that I'm probably not going to, because I feel like I have a really good understanding of the market at this point. If I wanted to go really, really deep, I could, but I'm kind of on a timeline to get this thing launched, so I really don't want to spend more time than I have to. But what I'm gonna do, like kind of the next phase, and we're gonna show you some of the conclusions I make after I really dive into this, is really just start looking at the common patterns we're seeing over and over and over again. And what I'm really, especially at this market, I'm seeing that, this is a market where people are feeling burnt out in their careers. They're feeling anxious all the time. They're not present in their families. They feel like almost empty inside. They're not fulfilling their potential. They're procrastinating a lot. And it's just like this constant like sea of overwhelm and like brain fog and exhaustion, right? And so I see that like what's happening time and time again. I've noticed a few things. So first of all, I'm going to guess, I don't have this 100% accurate, but I'm willing to guess that about 90% of these people are repeat buyers. What does that mean? It means that most of these people are either spending money in some sort of, therapy programs, other personal development courses, working with someone else, right? They're constantly investing in themselves. So that's a big thing that we can call out in our ad copy. And the second thing is, it seems that like whenever people sign up for my client dance program, or, you know, just looking at the reviews of this, I always see like there's always like a trigger moment that says, I need help with this. And it's normally like they're just like they have a moment where they look themselves in the mirror and they're like, I need a change. I feel totally burnt out. Or it's like there's some external event and that is amplifying the feelings they are feeling. So that's just my first initial kind of look going through this. And just from like actually going through and reading the reviews and really getting to understand these people and what they're going through, I'm like, okay, so that seems to be really focused on the marketing message that we can talk about is some sort of moment where it's like almost time to step up. For a product, I'm kind of going to start brainstorming headlines and a few different things. My philosophy is to really like build the copy first and then fit the product in, rather than trying to like shape the copy around the product, especially when I know what Dan is capable of teaching here and what kind of my limits are. I'm not going to go do some stupid hype claim, you know, BS, because that turns a lot of people off. And most of those people won't like that would buy something like that. They're probably not the right people that are actually going to ascend into like a $5,000 to $10,000 program on the back end. So, you know, looking through this, like I'm already seeing patterns. We're going to be kind of diving into that in a later video, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to just double check here. Okay, good. People can still see. And what I want to talk about today is kind of just doing the math of this, because, you know, when it comes to micro offers, I'm going to be doing a training in our coaching program about this next week. But the really nice thing that I love about micro offers is you can kind of write your own ticket in a way, in the sense that if you have like your, and I'm just going to take, we're going to take a little square here as this, if this is your micro offer, like slash, you know, your semi-passive income funnel, right? Income funnel here. Like, and theoretically, if you have like, let's say you're running some sort of advertising, right? So let's say you're paying for Facebook ads or you're paying for YouTube ads, like, and I'll just throw a Facebook ad here, right? If I am able at a bare minimum, right? And this is like a bare minimum where we have, you know, I've got clients where, you know, there's certain pieces of their funnel that is not dialed in and they are still, you know, breaking even or making a little bit on the front end. As you start scaling, obviously that number is going to go, that your return on ad spend is going to get a little bit lower and lower, just because, you know, you have to reach people that are a little bit outside the demographic, and that's part of the game, right? But for the most part, like if you can get this funnel really dialed in, let's just say at a worst case scenario, you're breaking even, right? So I can theoretically add, and I just checked last week, we added, I think, 109 people to our email list because we just reduced ad spend because we're focusing on this new funnel. And we're not working on actively scaling the other one. So like 109 new buyers for free, right? Which means like, and I say for context, I put free because we're paying, you know, we paid Facebook about, I think, $4,500 and we made 5,300, something like that. But if I can get 109 buyers for free, and let's just say like, I know that, you know, for just on average, like 2% of them will ascend to something, right? I'm just going to put like a premium program. If you're doing like a really good membership or something, you can probably get that a little bit higher if the alignment's in there and you're able to kind of put the right launch strategies and all that together. So that means like out of this, I don't know, around like 2 to 3, you know, premium buyers a week, right? At this rate. So the big thing with this though is that with this micro offer, being able to acquire leads for free on the front end, that really leaves us like what I call kind of like freedom to build what we want over here. And what I mean by this is that if you have been in this coaching space for a while, the thing you will notice is that the common theme that every single person tells you to do is to like, hey, do a high ticket offer of some sort, right? And there's a really simple reason for that. And that reason is because of margins, right? So, you know, other than people that are teaching, you know, there's some really great educators out there that are kind of teaching low ticket offers. They do it a little bit differently than I do. But if there is some people out there that are teaching, you know, and they're very big in our space, some sort of acquisition that requires you to pay money upfront to get a lead into your world, and then you have to pay another X amount of dollars to get a cost per call. And it just becomes a numbers game, right? So, the tip I know for call funnels when I used to build them, we could book calls on a calendar for 60 to $100, and then it would just depend on like how many of them you could actually close. Which, and again, that was at a lower scale. If you start really scaling that puppy, then the calls you can expect to pay like $200 to $500 for a call, right? Or I know people that are running webinars at extremely amounts of like extreme high ad spend, and they're happy to pay $1,000 to get $1,000 buyer because they have a back end process in place to send people. But the core thing with this, right, is that theoretically, if you can get your micro offer dialed in here, you can build like a membership site, you could build a course, you could build whatever, because your economics are taken care of here, which means if you can make it so that you can get a customer in your world for free, essentially, and then you're kind of like building the relationship on this part during the ascension and then getting them to move somewhere, then you can then ascend them into whatever you want, whether that's a membership, whether that's a course, whether that is a coaching program. My two recommendations though still would be like, I guess I would have three, but like one of them would be, higher cost workshops, something between $500 to $1,000, where you're doing something over like the course of maybe a week or two, because people will be happy to pay for implementation. The other thing I'd recommend, of course, is like doing some sort of premium coaching program and course combination there. The reason why for that is that I just find it's much easier to, and I look at the way Tesla grew as a great example of this, and is, they all start, like all these businesses, they start with a really premium product at the very beginning. And then basically what they do is, as they make money with that, then they're able to reinvest that into like consumer products, right? So I still recommend, if you can, like some sort of premium program, because margins, right? And if your goal is like, hey, my goal is I want to make, $10,000 a month, it's so much easier to do that with, turning, if you're getting 109 buyers, you basically let me think, just to do some quick math here. I'll pull up my little calculator. But if I'm getting like 109 buyers a week that's 209, 109 buyers a week, I'm just going to say there's 4.2 weeks, in a year. So about that. And let's just say I'm converting like 0.1% of those people. That's like 4.5. So maybe we'll round up to 5. And that's if you're like a really bad salesperson. And let's say, you're wanting to just put those people in like even like a $2,000. I would argue you could probably, especially if you have this front end, probably a $3,000 coaching program, right? That's like $15K a month as a baseline, right? And that's not bad. Like for some people that just want to surpass that 10K mark, like that's fine, right? But what I want to do is figure out, okay, like how many buyers do we actually need if we want to get to 1 million, which is let me just check. I think it's like 888,000 a month. So we're going to do this divided by 12. Okay, so we need $83,333 a month, right? So what I'm going to look for here is I'm going to just start this off by saying, okay, I'm just going to kind of work backwards here and show you my math for how I would actually plan this out, because this is the ultimate goal, is to get to this. And I know the easiest way to be able to do this, and how every single fairly large coaching company, unless there's something like a platform like Skillshare or Udemy where it's just like they're playing the Walmart game, which is totally cool. But for most like of the big coaching companies, look at like Life Coach School and bunch of those, they are really focused on how they can increase the lifetime customer value. Like that is what they're focused on, right? And it's like, how can we maximize the amount each customer pays us? And so like, I'm going to be going back and forth with Dan on this and how we can like improve that customer lifetime value. But like my goal as a baseline customer lifetime value is just like getting that number up to 10,000, right? And I think that is still very low. I think we could realistically get that up to like 15, 20,000 with the right infrastructure and an ascension process in place, especially after someone goes through the initial program. There's always going to be a 20% of those people, they're going to be happy to upgrade to the next thing. I'm just going to say, let's just divide this by like 10,000 as like a simple baseline LTV, right? So that means we just need, 8.3, let's just say, 9 clients a month, right? So what I want to do is I just want to figure out, okay, if we need 9 clients a month, I'm going to just look at like worst case scenario and say only 1% of our buyers are actually going to close into this program. And that's like we're doing something really, really wrong. But still, if we're getting 1% of buyers that we're getting for free, like who cares, right? It's no big deal. We're also probably making a little bit of profit here. We can send them into different programs. There's different fun things we can do, and we're growing an email list and a community that is going to pay dividends forever, especially if we take care of it. So what I look at here, and I'm just going to confirm we're still good. Okay, awesome. What I want to look at here is like saying, okay, we need like 9 clients a month, right? So I think I want to divide that by 0.99. I think so. No, I gotta figure out my math here. And I think that's going to give me the wrong number. Nope, got to work backwards. So it's 9 divided by 0.0. I think it's by 0.01. 900. So of course, gosh, it's so funny when you like get out of school and you start using calculators all the time, and it's just like extremely obvious math in front of you, and you're like sitting here using a calculator when you could just move 2 zeros over. Anyway, so if we're closing like worst case scenario only 1% of buyers, that means we need 900 buyers. I think that's about 30 buyers a day. I want to say we got 30 a day. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, my math's still there. So we need about 30 buyers a day is what we're aiming for, right? So I'm just going to put here like 30 buyers a day. 30 buyers a day, like what did I say? 9 clients a month. 9 clients a month at a 10K LTV. And you could also play with this as well, right? So this is just my simple math. We have like a full calculator built out that as long as you're in Sell Will You Sleep, we'll make sure I'm going to get my team to add that to the membership program, because we took a calculator and what we actually did is made it so that if you want to put in like a membership or something like that, you can play around with the variables, which is great. But I just wanted to do like the simple math to figure this out. But let's just say, we don't have this 10K LTV right now. Let's just say it's like, 7,000. Then the way I would do that is I'd take my target income goal, which is again, 83,000 ish, I'm going to divide that by, let's just say like 7,000, right? So figure out the amount of like premium people we need. And again, you could change that lifetime value to whatever you want, right? I'm going to talk about this in a course and a membership perspective in a second. I'm just talking about like a high ticket coaching program here, or a premium coaching program, whatever you want to call it. But then that could be like, okay, we need 11 clients right here. 11 clients at 7K LTV, right? And in this, and I can put like here, scenario number 1, learn how to spell. There we go. It is amazing how much I've just become reliant on technology. It's really kind of wild. And then scenario 2 is like, okay, let's just say we have 11 clients at a 7K LTV. So that's like, okay, maybe we're charging like 5K up front, and we take less in the ascension process, or we haven't nailed that in yet. So again, we can just keep playing with this, right? So what does that look like, right? So we got to just move, 2 zeros over. So that means we need 11,904 buyers, right? So you need 11,904 buyers, right? Buyers a month. And for this one, I'll just start up here. I can break this down a little bit here. Let's move these puppies down. Ooh. This is a great app if you want to map stuff out too. It's called Whimsical. It's totally free, which is why I love it. So again, this was 900 buyers a month. This was, and then, sorry, we're going to move this puppy up here. Boom, boom. And we want to see how many buyers we need a day, which is what I want to figure out. So 11,900, let's just do 11,905, and I'll update that one, divided by 30. We're looking at, my math is wrong. It's 1,904 buyers, right? Yeah, amazing how much like a 3,000 LTV makes a huge difference, eh? 1,904 right? Is my math right here? I'm going to check. I'm going to do a reverse engineer here. Sorry, y'all. 0.01 is 19. Nope, I did something wrong. No, hold on. Should be 1100. I don't know why I got that weird number. 1100. This is why I'm like, yeah, I'll just do this freehand. Next time I'm just plugging in my calculator. Divided by 30 here, and we have 36 buyers today. That makes more sense. Okay, cool. We need 37 because you can't have a 0.6 of a person. 37 buyers a day, right? And so you can play with this though as much as you want and just kind of have fun with these numbers. Like again, the core kind of formula you're doing here is you're figuring out your LTV. And so I'll do like another example too. Like let's just say you want to, and this is why it's like when you do the math for a membership, like if your goal is only 10K a month or 15K a month, then that's cool. You might be able to like rock that, right? And what I'd recommend if you're going to do some sort of membership is like experiment with charging more and giving a lot and taking like a 4-month commitment kind of thing, because then you at least can get some cash flow up front, or charge a lot less and give a lot less, right? And it's more like I know Ryan Lee, master at this stuff, calls it nano continuity, and it's basically this concept of like giving little tidbits away. I know he can probably explain it better than I can, of course, but like, let's just say then we're looking at, and I'll just put this million example again. So we're going to do 8333. We'll do 4. And we want, let's just say, I don't know. What's an average LTV of a membership? Who's got a membership right now? Does anyone in the comments have a membership? If you guys do, then that would be great. I'll jump on my little switch over here. If someone is watching and they have a membership, like comment below, because then we can do this calculation with what an LTV average membership is. And if not, that's cool. I will make one up and just show you how the calculation works. Nope, no takers. Okay, no problem. It's cool. So let's jump back in then. So again, what we want to do is, let's just say like we have a $300 LTV. Like let's say your membership is, let's just go a little bit higher. Let's say 600. Let's say you have a $97 a month membership, or whatever, and people stick around. Like if it's for easy math, it's $100. They stick for 6 months. That means you don't want to calculate it. And this is a big mistake a lot of people make with the math. All right. Super important. You don't do this. You do not want to calculate the amount of the membership. So if your membership, for example, is like $50, you don't want to divide this by 50, right? Because that'll say, okay, you need like 1,600 people a month, right, in your membership. But the thing that you actually want to do is calculate your LTV. If you don't know your LTV and you're just playing around with this, I would just take like a 6-month for a membership, right? And again, if you want to set it up so you do it quarterly, or it's like you have to pay for a year up front, whatever that process is, I'd recommend, if you want to see like really good people do this, like go check out Mindvalley, the way they've structured their pricing. It's really genius because they've set that up where I know some people where they really stack the cost of the monthly and they really invite you to join yearly and give you a really good refund grace period, because again, cash up front, like that's what they want. But let's say on an average, you're just putting this together for fun. Your average LTV is like $600 for a membership. So you charge $100 a month. They stay for 6 months on average, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to take that 83334 number, we're going to divide by 600, and it's like, okay, we need 100, and this is for $1 million business. We need 138 people in our membership a month, right? So let's just put this as we need 138 new members a month. New members a month equals like $600 LTV. And again, $600 LTV, doesn't matter what you're doing. Like I just know no matter what you're doing, you could probably charge more. And you might want to, again, there's many ways to collect more money from your customers and help them more. It's not just about like, hey, I'm going to just throw a really expensive offer at you and you better buy it. It's the reality that people are always going to want a new, more intimate level of help. And so by you having the ability to help these people, like, you deserve to charge more. And I know, because I've seen like so many examples, going into different offers, talking to really successful business owners, like, you'd be amazed at what people will pay for certain programs and stuff, right? So never think you're charging too little, ever, ever, ever. You're not. All right. So try to raise that LTV as much as possible. That's your goal. But in this case, we're going to say $600 LTV, because that's just like the max you can get, right? So again, what we want to do then is just move. I'm going to do this. So I think we'd need 100 if we're doing a one. And you know what? For a membership, you could probably say a little bit higher of a conversion rate, but I'm still just going to kind of stick to worst case scenario. So that would mean we need, I think, about 100. And if I'm moving my decimal points over, right? Buyers a month makes sense. A much lower LTV, and you would need 13889 divided by 30 is 462 buyers a day. Right? So again, all I'm doing though with this, just to kind of explain the equation, is like this. I'm basically saying, okay, if 1% of the buyers come in here, then we would get 138 new members, right? So that's really what I'm looking for. But if you want to change those variables, again, I'm going to make sure that if you're in So Will You Sleep, our team gets that calculator hooked up either today or if they've signed off tomorrow. And we'll make sure it's in a bonus in there so that you can calculate and have fun with this process. But the core thing you really want to understand going into this is like, what are you trying to achieve? Because I set out with the initial intention, back in, what was that, December, where I was like, yeah, I'm going to get, our AZ Funnels platform and get that to, $30K a month recurring. And the reality was, like, I needed a lot of front end buyers to pull it off. Like, that's just what the math showed me. And you can see, like, just from this, the appeal of why you want to charge premium prices to hit your goals, especially like this is like, if you think about the math behind this, like, you just need to close like 9 clients a month at 10K for like a total LTV of 10,000, right? That doesn't mean the initial coaching package is 10K. That the initial coaching package could be like 3,000 or 5,000. But then after they go through that package, there's going to be a percentage of people, and you could have say like, hey, if you want to subscribe for the year, it's like 15,000, and you're going to get like this in-depth understanding, right? This is all like part of the process of mapping out your customer journey and really understanding the process that they go through to actually go from their current state to their absolute dream reality working with you. And it's a big problem I see with a lot of people that will, get stuck in this plan, especially if they do one-on-one coaching work. I've seen it so many times where people would like come in, they'd pay them for a set amount of hours, and then after those hours, they'd be like, all right, see you later. Like, have a good one. And then they're always on the constant, this treadmill. When in reality, you could probably just say, hey, like, you just got done. Like, if let's just say I was like a typical person selling like some sort of session, whether you're a therapist or coach of some sort, of your sell, like, one-on-one training or packages, you could always, after that last session, say like, hey, I've really enjoyed working with you. Would you like to hear what it's like to continue working with me on a little bit of a longer term basis? And they'd probably say yes. And you can say, well, this is how it works. You paid me this, like, I'm happy, take on people for 6-month basis or a year basis. And guess what we can do? We can use that payment. Like, the price is normally, like 15,000, but we can use that initial payment of the 5K you already made and just put that towards that. So you can work with me for the next 6 months for just 10,000. And they'd be like, sweet. Right. And, just following the 80-20 principle, like 20% of people will probably say yes to that, especially if they've had a really good experience working with you and they're going to continue wanting help to grow. Right. So important thing today is just to understand the math of this, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, oof, if we can, and this is what I want to talk to, partner Dan about is, right now his LTV is way too low. And so we're having a conversation on Friday. I'm going to be working with him on like, hey, let's see how we can like get this LTV up to 10K. Because if we're trying to hit 1 million, like, okay, 11 clients at 7, that's not bad. But I would rather just like keep it simple. And if we can get this LTV up to 10K, like, sky's the limit, right? It's so much easier. We just need 9 clients a month to hit 1 million, right? And 30 buyers a day, which is super doable because when the product we had was currently at scale, we were semi-passively doing that, right? So it wouldn't be hard as long as we can dial in this acquisition system and make sure the steps for the person to go through are abundantly clear. And we're charging what the heck he deserves, right? Because he creates incredible transformations, like life-changing transformations. All right. So that's everything for today, y'all. I really hope you all enjoyed this. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to see you all probably on, today is Tuesday. I might pop in on Friday or on the following week. I may jump in on Thursday. We just got our coaching calls on Thursday, but I'm really enjoying doing this. And I'm going to keep mapping this process out as we go. So if you got questions after the fact, just like drop me a comment or anything below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or in our Facebook group. But otherwise,